Hello friend, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making 4 pasta salad recipes. What inspired this is this recipe right here. This is a street corn pasta salad that I have seen going around online since last summer. And today is the day we are finally making it along with 4 other recipes. My sister's having us over for dinner tonight. So 2 of them are gonna go to dinner at my sister's house, and then we're heading to the beach for a family beach day tomorrow. So I'm gonna pack 2 of them up and bring them to the coast with us. So here I have 1 pound, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, ditatelli? I'm not sure. I know you all tell me how to pronounce this. I just added salt, and we're just gonna cook this noodle according to the directions, which it says 8 to 10 minutes. We're gonna be able to make the sauce and the veggie portion of this pasta salad in the time it's gonna take for this pasta to cook. And I think that's gonna be the key for all these recipes, other than the fact that one of them needs bacon. And I did put 1 pound of thinly sliced bacon in my oven. And I'm gonna go ahead and rotate that because it is almost done. We're gonna let that continue to get crispy, and then we'll take that out of the oven. So I will link this recipe and all the recipes we're gonna be making down below if you wanna try them yourself. The first thing I'm gonna do is take some corn. This is corn that I put up last year. I had purchased it from a local farm, blanched it and froze it, and it is absolutely delicious, but it does need to drain a little bit. So we're gonna have this drain. The recipe says to use fresh corn on the cob and then blanch it and cut it off the cob. Well, I got to skip that step because I already did that last summer. But because it's frozen, it does have a little extra liquid, so I wanna get that little extra liquid out. Now I've got a couple of the other ingredients. So this is inspired by the Mexican street corn, if you've ever had that, where they take a whole corn on the cob, they roast it, they put mayonnaise on it, they put lime juice, they put tahini on it, and cojita cheese. Well, that's exactly what we're gonna do, but we're gonna turn it into a pasta salad. I have 2 limes here, and I have a bunch of cilantro from the garden that I already washed. So I'm gonna get this chopped. And I'm leaving most of the stems on because this is very young cilantro. It's the first time I've harvested it. And so those stems have really good flavor. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make our dressing. This is 1 cup of mayo. Use whatever your favorite type of mayo is. And then I'm gonna do equal parts sour cream. The recipe states you can use crema or sour cream. Well, I have sour cream, so I'm gonna use that. And then I have some roasted garlic paste. The recipe calls for garlic powder, but I'm gonna use this because I have it and it's delicious. And this is homegrown garlic. Now I'm gonna add some salt, our lime juice. These have quite a bit of juice in them, so I think I'm gonna start with 3 halves, and then I can add this if we need it. Now I'm gonna mix this together. I'm gonna add about a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'll put in my cilantro. We almost got this entire pasta salad made in less than it took to cook that pasta. I'm just gonna let that pasta cool just a little bit before we add it to our dressing. And while that's cooling, I'm gonna go ahead and crumble up some cojita cheese. Cojita cheese is kind of like a feta. It's a dried, crumbly, salty cheese. And it is delicious if you've never had it. It's a fresh cheese. I'm gonna start with half this block, and I'm just gonna put it into this container. Take a fork, and I'm just gonna break it up and kind of crumble it until it's in little crumbly pieces. This stuff is so good on tacos. If you make like a beef taco and you crumble this on top, we love it. I grew up thinking I did not like pasta salad. I'm just using my fingers to break this up just a little bit more because neither of my parents like mayo, and most pasta salads have some mayo in it. And so my mom never made pasta salad growing up, and I never ate it growing up. And it wasn't until I was in college that I discovered Hawaiian food and Hawaiian mac salad that I fell in love with macaroni salad. And there's just so many ways you can change it up to make it taste different and delicious. It's I really enjoy it now. And I'm gonna share with you a couple recipes today and how to adapt them. If you don't like mayonnaise, you could, especially in this one, go ahead and leave the mayo out and just use sour cream. And one of the recipes, we're gonna use Greek yogurt today. So now I have my cheese in with my rest of my ingredients. My pasta should be cool at this point. So I want to give this a taste test. And the way we're going to top this pasta salad is with a little bit of lime tahini. This is the one I've been wanting to make for at least 1.5 years now. So I'm glad we're finally making it. And let's go ahead and give this a try. I know it would be better if it sat in the fridge for about an hour or two to kind of marry all the flavors, but let's give this a go. This is one of the most unique and delicious pasta salads I have ever made before. I'm gonna pop that into the fridge and then I'll probably bring this one to my sister's house tonight. I haven't decided which 2 out of the 4 we're gonna be making that I'm gonna bring to her house tonight and which 2 we are gonna bring to the beach tomorrow, but that one is fantastic. I have a corn dip that I'd like to make that's an appetizer. It's similar but different, and I wanna try making that corn dip and adding this pasta. The thing I like about this pasta with the corn is they're about the same size. And so it's just a really good texture and mouthfeel. There's a great balance between the salty of the tahini and the cheese with the zestiness of the lime juice and the creaminess and sweetness of the corn that makes this really, really good. So now I have some more water on to boil here. This next pasta salad is a Caprese pasta salad with a creamy Caesar dressing, which I just think sounds fantastic. I love anything Caesar based. So the first thing we need to do is make the homemade Caesar dressing. I guess if you wanted, you could go ahead and use a bottled, but I happen to have all the ingredients to make homemade, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with Parmesan cheese, the sauce that shall not be named. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in here. Worcestershire sauce. Now I'm gonna add the roasted garlic that I have. Mayonnaise. To that, I'm gonna add a little salt, the juice of 1 lemon, So I want to taste my dressing. That is how easy it is to make a homemade creamy Caesar dressing if you've never made it before. That's perfect. No more lemon juice. I love what the Worcestershire sauce adds, a little bit of sweetness. Now, I would normally add a lot of black pepper, but the whole time my pasta was boiling, I was looking for black pepper, and I guess I'm completely out of black pepper in my house. So we are just gonna go with this. But if you had black pepper, certainly please add black pepper to your Caesar dressing. I have never thought to make a pasta salad using a Caesar dressing base until I was looking at recipes, and I think it's a brilliant idea. And so what I'm gonna do now, this recipe gives all sorts of different add-ins you can add to this pasta salad, but the main ingredients, because this is a Caprese Caesar pasta salad, are gonna be tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, and basil. And my tomatoes, not my slicing tomatoes, but my cherry tomatoes are now coming in from out of the garden. And I saw this trick, and this is the first time I'm attempting to do this trick. And the trick is to put your cherry tomatoes between two deli container lids, use a serrated knife, and go between, and you perfectly cut your tomatoes in half. Beautiful. Then I'm gonna take my fresh basil from my garden, and I'm not gonna chop this at all. I'm just gonna keep them nice and whole. And get these in here with the tomatoes, the dressing, and the cheese. The recipe for this Caprese Caesar pasta salad recipe gives a ton of options that you can add in. Romaine lettuce, it's almost like a BLT if you added the romaine lettuce. You can add avocado. There's just a whole list when I link that recipe down for you if you want to look at it. But I'm deciding not to add any greens to it because I want to be able to package this up and eat it tomorrow. We first though need to give it a taste test. I want to get a little bit of everything: tomato, basil, pasta, bacon, and the cheese. I need to get a little piece of bacon because I want to make the perfect bite of all of the components. This pasta salad is incredible. Like I said, it's almost like a BLT. If you had chopped up romaine and threw that in there, which is one of the recommendations for this recipe, it's almost bacon, lettuce, tomato with delicious fresh mozzarella, basil. And you know what would be good on this? I think what I'm gonna do is drizzle this with a little bit of this really good high quality balsamic, because that's how I like Caprese salads. And that right there is probably one of my new favorite pasta salads. This next one's gonna come together even quicker, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna substitute the mayo for an ingredient, because this one I am bringing to my sister's house, and my mom and dad will be there, and I think they will like this better than if I add mayo. So that's 1 cup of homemade pesto that I had in the freezer, and I just pulled this out, let it thaw, and now we have some delicious homemade pesto in here. And instead of adding the mayo, I'm gonna add sour cream to this. This will add a nice creaminess and a little bit more lightness to this than if it was just the pesto. I'm gonna mix this together, and this is our sauce. So that was really, really easy. I think the addition of sour cream is gonna add a nice little zing to this as opposed to mayo. So I'm happy about that. Next, I'm gonna add some frozen peas that I just rinsed under some water so that they would thaw, but not cook. I have a jar of sun-dried tomatoes. These are already chopped pretty finely, so I'm just gonna try to get some of that oil off of them and put them into our bowl. I'm gonna put about half this jar in here. This recipe and the last one that called for fresh mozzarella, you can use the little mozzarella balls instead of this bigger one, but this is what my grocery store had, so this is what I'm using. So I'm just gonna cut this beautiful fresh mozzarella into bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna cut this a little bit smaller than I cut the last one just because this pasta and everything in it is a little bit smaller, so I want everything about the same size. The last thing I'm going to add to this is some baby arugula. So I want to give this one a little taste test, making sure I get every component in here. This one I think would be really good with some chicken in it if you wanted to make just a really light, easy dinner. Very good. I do think this one needs a little bit of salt. I'm gonna stir this together, give it a taste test again. Now the recipe I'm getting inspired by for this one calls for nuts. My family doesn't really like nuts, so I'm gonna leave that out. And I do think that my family is gonna prefer this with the sour cream. I'm gonna bring this one to my sister's tonight, and it is so good. So let's taste it with a little bit more salt in there and see if that helps finish out this pasta dish. That is delicious. I love sun-dried tomatoes, that umami, chewy, savory, sweet aspect that they give to a dish. So good. This next recipe, we are gonna make the dressing in the blender. So we are gonna make a creamy cilantro, lime, jalapeno type dressing. And this one I think my family's gonna really like as well. So in the base of my blender, I have Greek yogurt that I'm gonna get in here. And again, all the veggies from this recipe are from my garden, which I'm pretty excited about. We are officially in garden harvest season. So to that, I'm gonna add some salt. I'm gonna add the rest of that lime juice from the lime we cut earlier. I have one more lime here, and I'm gonna put half of this lime in here. We're gonna put a big bunch of this fresh cilantro in here. And then I have a pepper from my garden, and I'm gonna give it a little taste test to see if I need to remove the seeds from it to see how hot it is. Wow, that is good. That is sweet. It is not hot. So I'm gonna add that whole thing. And then I have some garlic. This is the first time well, no, it's actually the second time I'm using this harvest, or this year's harvest worth of garlic. I'm gonna add 2 of these cloves, even though they're so big. This variety of garlic from my garden is pretty mild. So I'm gonna add 2 beautiful cloves. I guess I did not grow the limes. Those are from the store. I can't grow limes here. So let's give this a taste test. I already knew this was gonna be good. I make a sauce like this all the time, and I use this as a sauce to add on tacos. Really just phenomenal. You can use sour cream, mayo, Greek yogurt, whatever you want for the base of this sauce. And now we're gonna go ahead and add this to our pasta. To the pasta, I'm gonna add the rest of the cherry tomatoes I have. And I wanna do that same trick, but I want these tomatoes a little bit smaller than they were for the last recipe. So I'm gonna start by cutting them in half, and then I'm gonna cut them in quarters. Because this pasta is a lot smaller. This is orzo that I'm using for this one. So I want everything to be a little bit more evenly sized. Corn. Fresh chopped cilantro. And then for this one, I am going to use a cheddar cheese. Oh, this smells so good. We're gonna give it a taste test. I can smell the jalapeno in this, and it smells really good. I did just add a pinch more salt, and that right there, my friend, is incredibly delicious and so easy. I did not realize when I first started making all these recipes that the first one and the last one had quite a few of the same components. And when I started making the last one, I was worried that they were gonna taste very similar. But let me tell you, they have a very different profile, even though they do have quite a few of the same ingredients. So here is all that we got done today. Pretty impressive. So the difference between these two and why they taste so different is this orzo one has the dressing that's blended together, plus it has the jalapeno, and it has Greek yogurt instead of mayo as the base, and it has jalapeno in it and cheddar cheese instead of cojita cheese. So there are quite a few differences, but I was just thinking because it has corn and cilantro and lime, it might taste the same. But let me tell you, it tastes very, very different than our first one. So this is our street corn pasta salad, which I love. I love the texture of this pasta with the corn. It's sweet, it's salty, it is creamy and delicious. This is probably one of my new favorite pasta salads. Not only is it absolutely beautiful, but it packs a punch with flavor. And I do think the addition of the balsamic really brings this one over the top. That was not in the original recipe. That was just me wanting to add some balsamic because I like balsamic on my caprese salad. And this is my favorite balsamic. I can link it down below. You probably can get it at a better price at your local grocery store, but I'll link it in case you want to look at it. It's thick. And it's not a glaze, it's just balsamic vinegar, but it's so thick and just delicious. It kind of tastes and acts like a glaze. Really, really, really good. So this is probably my favorite. This is probably my second favorite. This is probably my third. I think, well, I don't know, this and that one tie because I just love jalapenos and I love cilantro and I love those flavors. And this one probably is my last favorite, not because it's not delicious, just because I just happen to like those flavors better than pesto. But I really do like this one as well. Now this one I would recommend getting a fresh pesto if you can find a fresh pesto. The pesto, instead of the ones that are in the jar that are canned, you're just gonna get a lighter pesto flavor if you can find a refrigerator pesto if you don't make it yourself for this recipe. Plus adding the creamy element to it just really, I think, brings it over the top. And I like the sweet peas and I love sun-dried tomatoes. So what I'm gonna do now is put a little plastic wrap on the ones that I'm gonna bring to my sister's house tonight. I'm gonna bring this one to her house because it has the arugula in it and I think it would do better if it was eaten today. The nice thing about arugula is it does hold up pretty well. She is having all of my relatives that are in from out of town, plus all the people that live here that are related to her house. There's gonna be quite a few people over at her house tonight. And what other one should I bring? I think I'm gonna bring this one because I think my family's really gonna like this one. And then everyone who's going to my sister's house tonight is all heading to the coast for a day trip. And so I'll package the other two up in to-go containers and I'll throw those in a cooler and we will have those at the coast when we have our picnic tomorrow. I think my mom is bringing sandwich fixings and things so we can have yummy sandwiches and homemade pasta salad. Oh my goodness, Fred. I highly recommend this one. This is the Caprese Caesar pasta salad. And this with a little bit of grilled chicken on the top would make a delicious, easy summer dinner. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of extra when we get home, and I probably will grill up some chicken and we'll enjoy this with some grilled chicken. Friend, I will link these recipes down below in the description box if you're interested, and I will put a couple notes on the tweaks that I did to them. I use recipes more as inspiration. I like to adapt depending on my family's preferences and what I have on hand. And so this is just a little glimpse into how I cook. And sometimes I follow the recipe to the T. Typically that's when I'm baking. And then sometimes when it's recipes like this, especially now when different things are coming out of the garden, I like to maximize using my garden fresh produce. I think these all turned out absolutely delicious. So thank you for being here. If you want to watch some more of my videos, I'll pop some videos here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. If you're new, please consider subscribing because we do a lot of cooking and gardening and fun things around here. If you've been here before, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.